Thanks for checking out our video. Feel free to join our free weekly newsletter called Pop Culture Annotated, and also join our Discord server to talk with us and others that share your fandom in pop culture entertainment. Links in the description. During Avengers Infinity War, a subplot of the film was Thor's quest to assemble a new weapon in order to kill Thanos, and this showed us the famous birthplace of Mjolnir being Unworthy, along with the Dwarf King Eitri, now without his hands thanks to Thanos cutting them all off. Now, an early leak speculated from either time travel or other means that we might see Mjolnir appear again, maybe in Avengers Endgame. However, the last time we saw it was in Thor Ragnarok, where Hela destroyed the enchanted hammer, which is pretty iconic to Thor's character. So it'd be interesting to see if Thor at one point wields two weapons maybe, or if another character that could use a power boost such as Captain America maybe wields the hammer instead of Thor for a final battle type scenario. And this wouldn't be too out of the blue, as Captain America has been teased to be worthy during Avengers Age of Ultron, so the Russo brothers wouldn't be taking such a big moment out of nowhere. With Thor's character, one thing I was thinking about when rewatching Infinity War and all that stuff is, hey, based on these kind of rumors, these speculations that go around, if Mjolnir was to come back, whether it replaces Stormbreaker with some time travel shenanigans or it just appears from some other means, would Thor still be able to wield it, and would he still want to wield it? And when thinking about the being able to wield part, I kind of thought about Thor's character, and he appears rather unstable based on the brief moments we've seen of him, primarily from the Avengers Endgame trailer. Now, the reason why I say this is because when you see Thor in the trailer, not only is he not dressed or carrying himself in any way like a king would, but you could also argue he looks like a prisoner. Now, you can also make the point that he's not really the king of much anyways at this moment, unless Avenger Endgame surprises us with New Asgard with a lot of survivors, even though right now it kind of seems like not that many survivors, or at least not enough to really make a big scene about, survived Thanos' attack. And like I said before, he does look like a prisoner in some sort of containment unit, actually not too dissimilar from the containment modules from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Now, getting back to the focus of this video, if Thor becomes absorbed with thoughts of violence and revenge against Thanos, it would make him arguably unworthy to wield Mjolnir if it were to come back. And we can go back to the first Thor film where we see his character as an impulsive-seeking, attention-seeking individual, thinking primarily about himself. However, the aspect of Thor that made him unworthy primarily resided with his recklessness and excessive pride. Overall, overcoming his ego has been a theme in the Thor films for Thor and arguably Loki's character as well. And this quality of Thor returned after he received Stormbreaker in the form of him losing his focus, forgetting kind of who he was in the heat of the moment when he finally confronted Thanos in Wakanda. And as director Joe Russo explained, I would argue that the fan base could be equally upset with Thor as they were with Star-Lord, who chose to throw the axe into Thanos' chest and not his head, because he wanted to tell Thanos that he got his revenge. Had Thor gone for a kill shot, that snap would have never happened. So this is an interesting quote because it really kind of shows that Thanos wasn't beaten because Thor is making a poor judgment call of aiming, but more so, intentionally so, Thor threw the axe into his chest because of a moment of pride. Now, it wouldn't be shocking to see if maybe Thor is more of a shell of his former self in Avengers Endgame, bearing the guilt and feeling really responsible for Thanos' actions, as if Thor just kind of put his pride aside for that moment, Thanos would have never been able to conduct the snap, as director Joe Russo said. And it's also possible that he's a bit unhinged at this moment, as Thor, has dealt with a lot of stuff over the films. His brother died twice, his mother died, his father died. He learned he had a half-sister just to have to try killing her right after, and he's fought in various battles, risking his life across the 9 realms. His home was destroyed, he's been imprisoned before, and his people were basically brought to the endangered list by Thanos. Any other stress of this magnitude, like bearing the weight of feeling responsible of half of all life being destroyed, I can see that being a reason someone would get unhinged, especially for someone like Thor, who you could kind of tell during the events of Infinity War was just barely kind of hanging on. His last kind of hope of sanity, his last kind of hope of not really snapping, so to speak, no pun intended, was really getting Stormbreaker, thinking that that would be enough to defeat Thanos. Now, maybe a reason he looks to be in a containment module is because obviously he's a very powerful being, and if he is unhinged, you probably don't want that kind of character walking around New York City or any other major populated area. So in the scenario where Mjolnir were to come back, kind of going back to the original aspect of this video, it's likely that Thor's actions, not too dissimilar from the first Thor movie, or even Thor's internal guilt itself, would render him unworthy under Odin's enchantments. With Stormbreaker, Thor likely wouldn't need to wield Mjolnir anyways. It would still be an interesting arc for Thor to learn to really let his baggage go, as really carrying his failures and just the baggage of the past few movies has really been something, a part of the character that honestly, if they were to give him a new trilogy, regardless of who's directing it, it would be nice to see Thor kind of in a new era for himself, in a new journey for himself, learning to forgive himself and kind of move forward. That'd be a really interesting way to kind of see the character, because he's done a lot. He's done a lot of good, he's done a lot of stupid things, but at a certain point you just gotta let things go. But comment below your guys' thoughts. What do you guys think about this? And we'll see you guys later.